Electro Archon is capable of not only dealing massive damage to single targets and groups of enemies, but also helps to restore and empower the elemental explosions of all party members. Raiden Shogun is one of the strongest characters that will definitely not lie idle on your account. Today, I'll tell you all the advantages and disadvantages of the character, important aspects of the gameplay, what role she plays in a party, what talents need to be upgraded, constellations. We will select the best sets of artifacts and weapons. I'll show you in which parties she'll show herself best. The video should be long, so be patient. I seem to have said everything. I can start. Each character has his own positive and negative aspects that you need to know. After all, it is the knowledge that will help to reveal the character to the maximum. Let's start with the positive aspects. Increase the energy recovery of all party members, allowing them to use elemental explosion more often. Boost allies' elemental explosions based on how expensive they are. Reduces Mora cost of upgrading swords and spears. Mora's saving always come in handy. Takes almost no time as an active character, while allowing you to increase DPS. Her upgrade will not harm your account, because you will get artifacts from the best dungeon in the game. You can build her in a hyper carry, which will itself be an active character for a large amount of time, but this entails disadvantages. Without first constellation, you can't get all 60 stack of the ultimate, we will talk about them later. In the Abyss, when moving from one hole to the second, all elemental explosion stack disappear completely. In order for Raiden to start hearting with her ultimate and become a hyper carry, she needs 2 constellations at least. As you can see, from the minuses she has mostly constellations, but this is the case for most characters, so I don't see anything critical here. Elemental skill is a very strong button that lasts a very long time, because its duration time is almost 3 times longer than its cooldown time. It can deal damage, but the main thing about it is that it changes the elemental explosion of the active character, depending on how much an expensive ultimate he has. Therefore, at least 2 characters with a very expensive ultimate, but the elemental skill only affects elemental explosion damage. The most popular example is Xiao. His ultimate is a buff that buffs you and gives you an anemo infusion and doesn't do any damage on its own. Also, the elemental skill allows you to impose an electro status on opponents once per second, but this is not the most important thing, you know. Also, the elemental skill allows you to impose an electro status on opponents once per second, but this is not the most important thing, you know. A button that deals basic damage, but not everything is so simple. The more stack for the ultimate you collect, the more damage it will give out. If anything, it's this thing in a bag. The more the circle is filled, the stronger Raiden's ultimate will be. I think it is not difficult to distinguish when it is full and when it isn't. A circle is filled by using the elemental burst of party member or by observing the first passive talent of Raiden. When nearby party members gain elemental orbs, she gains 2 resolve stacks. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. I think this passive is just a nice addition, because it will not let you fill the circle even a quarter. It takes 60 resolve stacks to completely fill the circle. What would you understand? The most expensive ultimate costs 90 energy. Raiden will receive only 18 resolve stacks out of 60 resolve stacks. If you don't have the first constellation, then alas you will not have time to collect all the resolve stacks before resetting the ultimate on cooldown. You will collect only 50 stacks, taking into account that you will have 3 characters in a party with the most expensive ultimate. If she was the main DPS, it would be critical, because this is a loss of 10 or 20% damage, but for Raiden this is imperceptible. The damage from the ultimate and from the stance of the ultimate depends on the level of your elemental burst. It's useless to upgrade a normal attack for this. I'll note right away that if you saw how people deal 500,000, 750,000 and 1 million damage on Raiden, then you should know that they have at least 2 or 3 constellations. Without constellations and with signature weapon in her hands, she can deal up to 200,000 damage. I'm not talking about reputation quests and the 7th floor of the abyss now. Because these constellations are really broken, they can give what characters and 6 constellations will not give. While you are in a stance from the ultimate, she can recharge the energy of the whole party up to 5 times. The better the talent is upgraded and the more energy recharge Raiden has, the faster you recharge energy for whole party. As we can understand from the mechanic, she's a sub-carry. It will buff the party well, while in a shortest possible time it will cause very solid damage. Can be played as a main DPS, but only with constellations. Of course, you can try to play like this without constellations, but this way you will lose the potential of the character. From the analysis of the mechanics, it can be understood that it makes sense to upgrade only the elemental skill and elemental burst. Raiden doesn't play with normal attack. The priority is first upgrading the elemental burst and then the elemental skill. As I said earlier, Raiden has some problems that are solved by the constellations. Of the most necessary, I can single out the first and second constellation. It is on the second constellation that the character receives a huge increase for small investment. If there are funds and a desire to reveal the potential of the character, I advise everyone. First constellation solves all the problem with filling the circle with one Electro character in a party. It is with him that Raiden can gain 60 resolve stacks before her elemental burst cooldown. The second constellation allows Raiden to hit huge numbers from his elemental burst. It's with this constellation that you can make Raiden a strong main DPS. But it's worth saying that even without constellations, Raiden will pass all the content for you. Therefore, it's up to you to decide whether to receive constellations on it or not. More than third constellations should not be received, because the main increases come from the first 3 constellations. The third constellation increases the level of the elemental burst, which paired with the second constellation will make it even stronger. I could list all the constellations above, but I don't see much point in this, because the main increases come from the previous ones. But if you really want to get all 6 constellations, I can't stop you. Raiden is the kind of character that only needs one full set that was completely made for her. I'm talking about the Emblem of Severed Fate now. This set of artifacts will give you just a huge number of affixes, which no other set will give you. But if you're going to play with Hyper Bloom, the best set would be Gilded Dreams anyway. But personally, I prefer to play through the usual build and I advise you. Advice is not a call to action. Play how you want, but I suggest how it would be better. Incense we need to energy recharge, but with a goblet it's already more interesting. If you play with Catch and you don't have Bennett in your team, then you can take the goblet for 80k and you won't regret anything. In all other options you need to take a goblet for electro damage. In a circle, take crit damage or crit rate, depending on whether your Raiden has 60 crit rate. Scored 60 crit rate with a cap on a crit damage? Not bad. But if it's less than 60, then take it to crit rate. Ideally, collect 60-70 crit rate, and only then gain crit damage as much as possible. In substat, look for crit rate, crit damage, or energy recharge. Ideally, collect 275 energy recharge, because 300 is too much, and with 250 it's not very comfortable to collect the elemental burst. Oddly enough, Grasscutter Light would be the best choice. It solves the problem with the balance of stats, fills in a lot of energy recharge and gives the missing ATK. This weapon was an exception. If you'd have it, then take 100% of it. If not, now let's talk about what to do. In a classic build, the Staff of Homa is the second most DPS weapon after her signature weapon. You better name me a character that it will be bad. Will give you a lot of crit damage and ATK. In general, there would be no price if it gave energy recharge. Primordial Jade Winger Spear. Stacks will not be collected so cheerfully, but in terms of damage they are stronger than all the weapons that come after it. If you have Skyward Spine lying in your account, you can safely give it to Raiden. You will not regret it. The only negative is that the passive ability will not be fully executed, but almost nothing to worry about. From the 4-star weapon, only the catch is very good for her. In principle, absolutely everyone can get it, you just need to go fishing a little. The catch is almost as good as the weapons above, so it's better to give them to the character who implement them better. In short, take a catch if the polearm above has owner. Almost nothing will change. Raiden, Shanlin, Shinsu, Bennett. It is considered the strongest parry for Raiden with 0 constellations. Deals huge damage and easily passed the last floor of the abyss. Only drawback is that this parry uses 3 very necessary 4-star characters. To release Shinchu, you can take Yelan. The only pity is that the ATK that Bennett gives Yelan is not needed. Raiden, Kazuha, Sara, Bennett. Raiden can deal huge numbers if you have the 2nd constellation. But if you have Sara with the 6th constellation, that even without constellations Raiden will do good damage. Without C6 Sara, the party will not be the same. Raiden, Miko, Sara, Kazuha. The strongest parry for Yae Miko, but not the strongest for Raiden. If you really like Yae Miko and Raiden and want them to play together, you're welcome. And if you have not C6 Sara, you can change her to the Bennett. Eula, Raiden, Fischl, or Zarya. A strong parry based on Eula. Raiden, on the other hand, is focused on energy recharge and the imposition of Electro status. Those who play for Eula say that this is one of the strongest passes for her. But I prefer to replace Rosaria to Diona, so survival is greatly increased. Raiden, Venti, Nahida, Zhongli. Players have long dreamed of playing a party of Archon, and with the release of Nahida, it came true. Shield and Venti Elemental Burst make this party very comfortable. Raiden, Kazuha, Nahida, Yelan. If you want to play through Hyperbloom, Raiden should be given Dragon's Bind and the set of artifacts I mentioned earlier. There will also be a lot of damage. If I'm not mistaken, the new set Flower of Paradise Lost will be even better, but it will be more profitable to get Guild Dreams. Then Raiden should only look for Elemental Mastery. As you can see, the character is very good and relatively easy to build and play. I have listed only the most important parties with her, but there are many more of them. If you got her and are watching this video, then congratulations, or I wish you good luck, so that you will definitely get it on your account. But I want to say goodbye to you. See you later.